Hey guys, it's Lynn with Curiosity Crochet. Welcome. I'm just going to take a minute to say if you're new to my channel or you haven't already done it, I ask you to please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And you can check me out on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Curiosity Crochet. And you can find the links to both of those at the top of my channel page. So since Easter's over and I've done a lot of hats and blankets and scarves and stuff, I thought I would start a beginner series. So for this video, I'm not making a pattern or anything. I'm doing this to see if I can't reach new people or if there's anybody out there that just wants a refresher course or whatnot, or just to learn a different way of doing things. But today I'm going to do chaining and single crocheting, and then we'll go from there in my beginner series, and I'll mix in patterns and stuff in between these. So like I said, today we're going to do chaining and single crochet, and I'm going to start out by showing you how I do my slip knot. And depending on the project I'm working on, I always tend to leave a longer tail because I notice some people, they make a slip knot with a very small tail, but I like to be able to sew in my ends. So I always like to have something to work with that's not a big pain. But I wrap the yarn around my fingers and I hold it at the top here. I come in underneath through the middle of that circle, and I grab the working yarn here and pull that through, and then pull that, and you pull the long end, and then you have your end that you can sew in, and you have your slip knot. I'm going to show you that again. So I wrap it around my fingers and pinch it up here, and you can stretch it a little bit so you can get in there, and then I come up underneath. So not in this way, but up underneath through the middle of that ring. And then I grab the working yarn, the long end, and I pull that through. And then you pull that tight, and then you pull the long end, and it tightens it for you. And I just went out of shot, so I'm going to show that again. This camera stand, you guys. So wrap it around your fingers. Pinch it at the X here, come up underneath through the middle, grab that working yarn, pull it through, pull that tight, and then pull this end and bring it up. Now you don't want to leave it too tight because you want to be able to work with it. So you just want to pull it tight enough, and if you want to loosen it, you just pull the other end and it'll loosen it up. See? So then you just bring it as tight as you want it. And then from there, we make chains. And the way I make my chains is I've got the yarn. I grab it like this and wrap it around my finger, and I hold this piece. And then you're gonna put this hook underneath this yarn. You're gonna twist it so that it's latched, and then you're going to pull through, and that creates your chain. So you're going to come up underneath, you're going to twist so that it grabs that yarn, and you're going to pull it through. So you're going to put your hook like over it, and then come underneath it, grab it, twist, and pull it through. Let's do that again. So cross it over, come up underneath, grab and twist, and then pull it through. You're going to cross it, go up underneath it, grab and twist, and pull it through. So go ahead and practice that and work up some chains, and then I'll show you how to do a single crochet. So go ahead and practice that. I'm going to make a long chain, and then I'm going to show you single crochet. Okay, once you've practiced your chains for a while, and if you need to rewind that and watch it over and over again, do it, because sometimes I have to do that with stitches where I have to go back and rewatch what they've done. So just practice the chains as long as you need to till you get it where you feel comfortable enough that, okay, yeah, I can make a chain. And you don't want to make them too tight, and you don't want to make them too loose. You want to hold that perfect tension. And what I mean by that is when you do this and you pull it through, you don't want this to be super big like that. And you don't want to pull it real tight and have it like that, because you won't be able to work into that. So you kind of want to just hold it kind of taut when you're doing the chains. Now see, I pulled that one real tight because I was playing with it. But you want to just kind of smooth flow it so that it's not going too tight or too loose. So when you're doing this, you don't want to keep pulling your hook up this way, or it's going to make it too loose. And you don't want it down this way too far, or it's going to make it real tight. You want to make sure you're at like a 90-degree angle almost when you're doing this, because it creates perfect chain. Okay, so now we're going to learn single crochet. Now with single crochet, you always, this here doesn't count as anything. This is just what you're working from. This first chain here underneath your hook is usually going to be your turning chain. So you never work into this. You always jump to the next chain and start there. So remember, don't go into this one. We're going to the next one. And we're going to go in like this. You're going to take your hook. You're going to insert it in the top of that chain. You're going to grab the yarn, twist it, pull that through, and now you're going to have 2 loops on your hook. And you're going to grab your yarn, twist, and pull it through both those loops. And that's your single crochet. So now we jump to the next chain over, and we're going to insert. We're going to come up, grab that yarn, twist, pull it through. You've got 2 loops. You're going to grab your yarn, twist, and pull through both those loops. I'll work all the way down this chain with you guys. So you jump to the next chain. You're going to go in to that chain. You're going to pull the yarn through and then pull through these 2. Now, just like with chaining, you don't want to go too loose or too tight with your stitches either. Now, it just depends on what kind of crocheter you end up being, and you'll become accustomed to either you're a tight crocheter or a loose crocheter, and then you'll modify what you have to modify. But for now, you just want to do it kind of an even tone. So when you go in and you grab your yarn, don't pull it real tight. And don't leave it real loose, and then just pull through. So go in your chain. Now, I'm not pulling this too tight here. I'm just kind of letting it rest on my finger. It's just kind of a guide at this point. And then you grab your yarn and pull it through. And then do the same, pull through. So some people hold it real tight like this. Some people just kind of let it hang. I just let it be a guide. So I just let it hang over my finger basically. So it's just there to guide me. And then when you come up to the end, you'll have one last chain, and you do the same thing. And then if you're just doing single crochet, you'll chain one right here, because that's what helps you build the next row. And then you turn it, so then you're working across this way again. And now you'll have the top of stitches instead of working into chains. You'll be working in the top of these stitches, and if you look, you can see they're like little V's. And you're going to go right into this one right here, underneath both of those loops there, and you just do the same thing. And you just do that all the way across. You insert under those two loops there. You grab your yarn and you single crochet. Now, everybody crochets different, but I tend to put my finger on the loop to kind of hold position and go into the next stitch and then pull up, and then I tend to touch it for some reason, but everybody crochets different. So you have to kind of pick up your own habits and stuff too. So it's all about repetition and learning the basics and then moving forward after that. So once you've mastered the chain and the single crochet, you should be ready to move on to the next. Now, my suggestion is, once you feel like you've mastered the chaining and the single crocheting, work up a small square, like almost like a dishcloth size. That's your best place to start, to make a small project like a dishcloth that is just chaining your beginning chain and then single crocheting back and forth until you have a perfect square. I usually make my dishcloths, like my initial first chain, I count to about anywhere between 20 and 30, just depending on how wide you want it to be. So just chain 20 or 30, or between 20 and 30, and then single crochet back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until it looks like a perfect square to you. And then that'll get you used to doing the single crochet back and forth. And the chaining, once you have the chaining down, you don't have to worry about that. But then you'll get used to doing the single crochet back and forth. And I feel like that's the easiest way to start, is doing something like that. So I hope you guys were able to follow along. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.